Thank you very much. And also, thank you very much, and also a warm welcome from my side. I'm happy to be here and share some thoughts, and these thoughts are maybe food for your thoughts. It is impossible to solve a complex topic like customer engagement and commerce within a 30 minutes talk, and everybody knows what to do and how to do and has a clear vision and path into the future. But I would like to give you some insights. Maybe one and other of you might know parts of this, but I'm not sure if everybody is on this track right now. One question I had, it's always difficult when we talk about simplicity and make things easier and have such a complex title like that. But we try to put every content into this title, and also this leads to me to two questions to you. How many of you and your companies are working with cloud computing in an intensive way right now? Okay. And how many of you use big data in the interpretation we now see as for the last 1.5 years? How many of you work with big data in that regard? Okay. So this is good for me, because maybe my content is a little bit partially new to you. Just from my personal side, you mentioned it, I'm co-founder and CEO of MyHero for more than 16 years. So we are dealing around with customer relations, customer centricity, with customer interactions for more than 16 years. And my personal background is a little bit longer, so I'm dealing around with that for more than 25 years. And as far as I see, I learned so much in the last 3 years, much more than in the 3 years before the last 3 years, and much more than going back in the past. So the speed is quite high. If we want to have a view or try to have a look into the future, it's always good to have a short glimpse on the past. Talking about customer relationship management in the year 2000, everybody's talking about Salesforce automation and a little bit marketing, but that's what it's all about. So you have to steer your traveling salesmen, and that was quite a simple exercise in comparison to what we are trying to do today. To give an idea what happened in the other part of the world, not in the CRM part, we have a number of 3 billion toothbrushes at that time, and 0 Facebook users and 0 iPhones. 5 years later, you see it is a little bit more populated. The number of toothbrushes increased a little bit, nearly 10%, but 10% is nothing. But you have 5.5 million Facebook users, and also 0 iPhones. And if you remember the Sommermärchen in Germany, where we talked about it, I think it was 2006. And if you ask someone which favorite iPhone app he used at that time, everybody starts thinking and thinking and thinking, because the iPhone is so much part of our life today, or a smartphone, that no one has on his radar that the iPhone just came up into, I think, 2007. So we forgot a lot in the past. 2010, it looks a little bit more complex. So the first true multi-channel environments came up. Number of toothbrushes again rises. The World Health Organization is working on that. And the number of Facebook users exploded, and also the number of iPhones. And I think this is a picture which gives an idea about where we are today. Yeah. So again, the number of Facebook users grows, but not as in the same speed as in the first years. And also the number of iPhones and the number of mobile phones exploded. So, and all these mobile phones are, and maybe it is not a number like 5 billion, but you can imagine all these mobile phones are possible touch points. So this is where we are in right now, and I don't know how this picture should look like in 2020, but in 2020 I think I'm still in business and I will learn it at that point in time. But from my point of view today, it looks quite complex. What does that mean? Customers. Customers have a very high transparency about what they are doing, what kinds of goods and services they can buy or they can use. They are acting very much self-determined, so they decide what to do next. And something which is very interesting from a marketing perspective, new opinion leaders appear. So all the YouTubers you see and where possibly your children are looking at and decide what kind of clothes they buy, what kind of cosmetica they buy, whatever. They are influenced by YouTubers, and this is what on the company side you have to manage, which is quite impossible because the number of touch points and the number of influencers is very much high, and therefore it is quite difficult. How to address this? So something is like it has ever been. So you need a clear value proposition, you need a brand, and you need your USPs, and you have to control it, quite clear. Go forward in this. You have to check your own skills. So what is my portfolio? What is my internal structure? Where are my people right now? Do they have on their own radar what is going on outside there, or do they have only on their radar what is inside my company? And on the other hand, you have to take care for all these customer interactions. What do the customers do? Which channels do I use to address this? And so this looks not as complex as the picture 2 slides ago, but even if you remember your own company, you see, okay, I think it is a complex task to align all these different parts of my organization and also the different parts of my channels and also the various kinds of customers. What do these customers do? So they are struggling around in the world and have a lot of information spots, a lot of contact spots, a lot of influencers, and they walk through this, and I think it's called customer journey. They walk through this customer journey and they decide at what point ever what to do next. And it's quite difficult to have an idea from your side to have an interpretation what is a possible next step. Maybe can I have a bottle of water, please? And to make it a little bit more complex, it is more or less that every customer journey is different. So it is not one customer journey, and you cannot move your customers onto a lightning path through all your touch points. They will decide on their own which kind of path they will use. And as you can imagine, it's not an easy task. Maybe I would like to share a video with you, which gives you an impression. I don't know if someone has seen it before. If not, it's good. If so, enjoy. And I will give some information about that later.
If you work in marketing, you better start upping your game.
Because you haven't seen anything like us yet.
In just 10 years from now, we'll be buying and influencing buying
in ways that will confound you.
We won't just watch your ads. We'll expect smart, tailored content based on our social graphs.
Tailored for me.
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 And me.
We want to interact with it as we watch it, not just with touch,
but with voice, with gesture,
with intent. You better embed everything that is featured with additional information, social APIs, and e-commerce functionality. And we mean everything.
Everything.
Everything. The car,
The skirt.
the hotel,
The app.
Because we expect to double tap on anything to get more information.
Don't worry. You'll offset the cost by on-selling any leads to those data aggregator type companies.
We'll spread it through our networks.
And co-create with you.
And when we do buy, there are normally more of us than there are of you. We can change your business
In one trade.
as long as the deal is on.
Augmented reality.
Will be the new reality.
AR apps will almost function like special skills to help us navigate reality more effectively.
You wait and see what the iPhone of 2021 looks like. The clue is in the name.
And you better get used to paying us.
Our browsing, influencing, and purchasing data.
Will make some of us pretty rich.
But don't overstep the mark, otherwise we'll block you.
Mass blocks kill brands overnight and keep you up all night.
So if you work in marketing,
You better start upping your game.
Because you haven't seen anything like us yet.
So, thinking about how old might this video be? Have everyone seen it before? So it looks like it is 2017 or so, but in reality it's 2011. And these guys who talk to us are now 5 years older. And I think they did not reduce the way they want to interact with customers, the way they want to buy goods and services and so on. So having this in mind and having a look at, so to say, your own infrastructure or infrastructure like it is today or mostly today, so everybody's going forward, every company is going forward, every consultancy is going forward, everyone is going forward. But more or less, we have a lot of what we see here right now in place. So we have a lot of fragmentation on the data side, and we have a lack of coordination on the channel side. So I think everybody knows it when try to make a call to a customer service center. You interact with the computer and type in your customer name and the problem key and stuff like that. And when you have a real voice and a real person at the other end, you can repeat it. Yeah, or you make the same on the website and make a ticket and describe everything, and you have this personal interaction. So there is a lack of cross-channel coordination. And this leads to low customer satisfaction. We just saw it, we block you, and to low EBIT or return on investment, stuff like that. So, and I like this picture very much because reduction of complexity is the headline, and then you see a quite simple picture. Maybe I try to explain. So I think the main thing is that this, what we see here, must be one platform. And the title of my short presentation is what has something to do with cloud and something to do with big data. So in talking about what is the process in this picture, so at this area, all the information came up and should be collected. And with this information, you do each individual customer profile or each individual customer information. And having done that, so which is a huge exercise to collect all this, and the next exercise is to store it individually, and the next exercise is, okay, you must identify it, you must classify it, and then you find similarities, so some more intelligent customer profiles, and having that, then you can start trying to find ideas for the future or trends. And then, having that, you start with real work in sales, service, marketing, and commerce. But the main thing is that you need technology to handle all this complexity. And then this picture is not as complex as it seems on the first view. Everybody is involved in projects, I think, from your side, and everybody knows that it is not an easy task to do only one of these. But the picture you have in mind when you starting the first action must be something like that. So, and how to collect this? You need these big data. Going back to this, the portion we see here is quite small, but in the back of this small portion, you need a huge amount of technology to get all this done. And this means you need this big data to get all these data structured and analyzed and stuff like that. And on the other hand, to not only to collect, as we see two pictures ago, also to distribute this, you need the cloud. So everybody is talking about you don't need cloud. You can do it everything on your own. But we did some research, also from a profitability aspect, and rollout projects are by a factor of 5 faster and smaller than rollout projects in an on-prem world. So it is quite faster to distribute this to wherever you want. So it is not only to your international entities, it is also to different touch points, stuff like that. And the other thing is, using cloud solutions, you're able to pay the services you're just using. And if you don't need them anymore, you can cancel it. And so it makes much more flexible, because this video we just saw, if there is a new video, for example, in 2018, nobody knows what they really want at that point in time. So you must be flexible. Therefore, it is, I think it's quite necessary to go forward into a cloud direction. Not in a 100% cloud direction, but you need this cloud topic as an addition to your existing systems. So how to handle this, or what is the reasons why it is so difficult? I think there is enough data in every company right now, but there's almost a lack of knowledge to make the right things with this information. And having this in mind, it is not only a question of knowledge, it's also a question of culture, steering principles, stuff like that. So who owns the customer? Who is responsible for him? Who is responsible for the next action with the customer? Is the customer only a division customer, or is it more than that? So have this holistic view, and this is the thing you quite needed, and therefore it is not only a technology issue, it is much more an organizational issue to get this done, because this is what you need to address, and this is how you're organized normally, and how the way of working works. And the interaction between these different silos is, you can handle it on a technical way, but the much more important way to handle it is on an organizational way, or on a cultural way. So how to. Maybe? Oh. So you need to build up some kind of customer-centric idea, or to some kind of spirit in the company to get this forward. And maybe it is easier to understand by having a small example. So everybody, I think of you, is some kind of barbecue fan. So everybody likes barbecue. And if you look at the history of barbecue 15 years ago, or 10 years ago, we have a barbecue with a grill with coals, and we do some meat and some sausages on it. And what we see today is like having this more or less complex picture for CRM 2010 or 2015. So today you may have another grill or a smoker, and you not only use meat, and you not only use sausages, you eat fruits, fishes, much more things, and it is some kind of outdoor event. So having the frequency you are using your barbecue, or you're doing barbecue, it is, I think, more or less much more than 10 years ago. Why is this so? So I think Weber is also a company is very much known. Weber tried to steer their company from the customer point of view. So they think about, what do the customer wants us to do, and make some investigation around that. And then the products go into this direction, and also additional services like the Weber Academy, where you can make some cooking events and stuff like that. So more and more have an emotional aspect in running your business. And at the back of this, the number of sales increases, because everybody wants to do more and need a bigger grill and another grill and stuff like that, and using it much more. So thinking what you're doing from a customer perspective, is that what you have to do, and not from an organizational perspective. And that is what should happen to have a kind of customer-oriented culture. Another good example, I think, is Vorwerk. Vorwerk is a company who has, don't know what Staubsauger means, but but the other very well-known product of Vorwerk is the Thermomix. And also Vorwerk sit down and thought about, okay, how can we increase sales? So in former times, you push your sales force and you push your marketing. More marketing activities, more sales activities, go forward, forward, forward. Vorwerk get a step back and think, okay, the most important driver for buying a Thermomix, which is a more than €1,000 investment, is that people recommend it to other. If they recommend it to other, the other ones will buy it. So how do they recommend it? They recommend it while they love it. Why do they love it? They love it while they use it. And they use it because it is quite easy to use it. And why is it easy to use it? Because you have recipes you can cook with. And it is an easy way to cook with them. You do not have to think, you only have to cook. You have to follow the instructions. That's the reason why the new Thermomix has these step-by-step receipts. So you can only get step-by-step for cooking your menu. And by that, the recommendation quota increases dramatically, and the sales also increases dramatically. But this is thinking from the customer point of view. And you have to take care that your organization has the same view, because without the organization, nothing will happen, and the organization will only move if the top of the organization is going into this direction. And yes, we are in Germany or we are in business world, you have to control it. Yeah, this is also a very complex part, but the most important thing is thinking the world from a customer perspective. So, what is the food for thought for today? So, everybody's looking for a new wording for customer relationship management, but what has happened there is much more a customer-managed relation. The customers manage their relation themselves, and this is a fact. I think the video dated by 2011 gives a clear view on that. And only if you have all of these different dimensions in place, you can go forward. And as we all know, when you buy a house or something like that, you have a plan, and you start with the first level, and then the next level, and then the next level, and then the roof. So it must be a step-by-step exercise to give the organization the time to accept what is going on there. And yes, it is complex. I think we see it, and it is nearly impossible to do it, or it is impossible. I think in the year 2005, I was of the opinion it is nearly impossible to do it without technology. Today, we can say it is impossible to do it without technology. And the combination of these cloud solutions gives, from our point of view, a huge impact on that to have flexible responses for flexible challenges. So, and I'm a sales guy for all my life, so I'm also today a sales guy. And therefore, I can really understand how difficult it is to learn that there must be some kind of shift in mind how to act as a salesperson in this new world. Because all the ideas to increase sales from the past, as I mentioned for the Vorwerk example, more pressure on marketing, more pressure on sales, does not work in an appropriate way. So the pressure costs so much money, and the result is not high enough to get this in the right direction. So these are my food of thought. If everyone is interested in what is beyond my hero, just 2 slides. We are CRM consulting company since more than 15 years, with more than 100 people working solely on this topic, from a strategic, from a process, and from a technology side. And I think the most important slide is we have customers who believe in us, and I think we have a quota of 25% of customers which we are serving for longer than 10 years, and nearly 50% for longer than 5 years. So it is, as you see, it is a journey, yeah, and it took a while, but that's what I think the important message is. There are a lot of customers who are going with us in this direction. So I want to thank you. Hopefully you had some new information and not only enjoy the video, but the good message is that you haven't seen the video before.
Thank you, thank you. Can you have 5 more minutes for maybe a question or two?
If there are questions.
Is there any questions?
It's always difficult to answer questions simple, but I will try.
Okay, any questions? Yes.
Okay, yes.
Hi. I have a question regarding sales in general. So you said basically that the customer is managing himself, right? So why would you need sales at all nowadays? What's your opinion on that?
So to manage the relationship. So even if the customer is asking for services by himself, it depends on the business. In the business-to-consumer world, you do not need someone who is organizing all the internal processes. But in a business-to-business world, you need the sales to organize for the customer all these complex internal processes that he has. It is not a new invention from the year 2016, but this one face to the customer or this one voice to the customer, it's still important, but it is a different culture. It is not this pushy culture from the past. It is more a relationship manager, so who joins the customer on his journey.
Okay. Do you have other questions? Okay.
Very interesting presentation. For me, one of the examples of very breakthrough business model is what happened with Pokemon Go. Because I saw my kids knew everything. I didn't see one ad of that. You just read the newspapers where millions of people are using it. Everybody's around there. These guys looked at a couple of videos and everybody has it. What is your recommendation how to replicate this kind of model with almost zero marketing dollars? Huge impact and a lot of spreading around the globe.
If I have this idea, I would do another job, I think, because even another example is this Candy Crush app. Everybody is playing with Candy Crush and doing this. But the marketing model beyond Pokemon Go is that, for example, McDonald's pays Pokemon to locate more of these Pokemons around the McDonald's stores. So this is the business ratio beyond it. And this, on the other hand, is some kind of marketing campaign. So running the McDonald's marketing is that you have a campaign with Pokemon to allocate these Pokemons around your Pokemon stores and then measure it across all channels. So, but I have no new Pokemon. So I'm not sure if I understand your question right, but what is the marketing ratio beyond Pokemon is the answer. They sell the Pokemon locations to B2B customers.
That is disruptive.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a totally disruptive go-to-market approach that is very, very closely linked to your video.
Yeah. But I think the idea for this selling the Pokemons to McDonald's was not the idea from Pokemon. It was the idea from McDonald's. Yeah. And this is something. So having this picture in mind, where you collect all this information, and then if if you watch at least, for example, social media or Snapchat or whatever, you recognize when you have a look at it that there is something going on. So McDonald's recognized, obviously, that there is something going on. And then they sit down and say, okay, what's in for us? And that is the result is, okay, let's do some campaigns and ask them how much they want to have to locate more Pokemons around McDonald's. And then, I'm sure, I don't know, but McDonald's will measure how much impact this has on their sales in their restaurants.
Maybe one more.
One more.
Sorry, I just wanted to add a bit because to reflect on your presentation, because it was asked how to replicate Pokemon Go, and I think Pokemon Go is an example of breaking the silos. Because Pokemon Go, if you look at it, has been 20 years in the making. It's a Nintendo-marked property which has been appearing from '95, and they haven't capitalized on it. And it took Nintendo almost bankruptcy to go to mobile, to go to iOS and Android, because they were stuck on their own proprietary hardware platforms. So indeed, as Uwe is saying, it took them a lot of courage to break their silos, and that's how they managed to replicate such a huge success.
The better answer, thanks.
Yeah, it's clear that...
I was more thinking about money.
Well, sales, user experience, so... Thank you very much for the insightful presentation, Uwe, and have a safe flight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.